Okay guys, today we are going to be working on our polynomial notes, which should be about page 10 in your interactive notebook. So page 10 in your interactive notebook should be listed under your table of contents. What is a polynomial? Now, a polynomial is an algebraic expression with two or more terms. The terms can be a number, variable, or product of variables with, and I'm going to do this in a different color just because it's important, with whole number exponents. If you're writing this in pencil, I suggest highlighting that statement. So those are whole number exponents. Now let's look at some examples of different types of polynomials. First we have monomial, which is one term. An example of a monomial would be 3x squared. Then we have a binomial, bi meaning two, so that is two terms. And an example of that is 3x squared minus 4x. Third, we have our trinomial, tri meaning three. So three terms. An example of a trinomial, 3x squared minus 4x plus 5. And then finally, we have a polynomial, which just means four or more terms. And an example of a polynomial would be 4x cubed minus 2x squared plus x minus 2. And when we're looking at a polynomial, these are considered terms. Okay? And these are all considered polynomials. These two, binomial and trinomial, just have specific names, but they can also be called a polynomial. So what a polynomial is not, what we are not doing in a polynomial is we are not dividing. There are no radicals, and there are no negative exponents. I'm out of room, so there's no negative exponents. All right. Now let's look at an example of a polynomial and name all of its parts. Our first item here, we have what you should be familiar with because we've already talked about it this year. These are our coefficients. Then we have here our exponents. Then we have here, as I hope we remember, our constant is our constant. And then finally, we should all remember that this here is called our variable. And they went ahead and listed this as our first term. So we have our first term, our second term, and our third term. So this would be considered a trinomial or a polynomial because there's 3 terms. Both would be correct. And our first term here, because it's in standard form order, which we'll talk about in just a moment, this is called our leading term. The degree of this polynomial is equal to 3 because 3 is the greatest exponent in the polynomial. Now these over here on the right are not polynomials. They are not polynomials because in this one we have a negative exponent. And when we have a negative exponent, we do not have a polynomial. And here we are dividing, and if we are dividing, we do not have a polynomial. Okay? That is a common question you will see on the EOC, is what is or is not a polynomial. And just remember what is not a polynomial. Again, you will not be dividing, there will not be any radicals, and there will be no negative exponents when we are dealing with polynomials. So earlier I said that this was in standard form. Well, what does it mean to be in standard form? Standard form of a polynomial is when terms of the polynomial are ordered in highest degree to lowest degree. Meaning our lowest degree here is 1. It's not there, but it's implied. And our highest degree is 4. Because that is our highest exponent. So the polynomial is in standard form because 4 is the highest degree, then 3, 2, and finally our lowest degree of 1. So those are our notes for today's class. The next video will be some examples of us identifying polynomials, the type of polynomial, and putting them in standard form.